So check this out, y'all, right? DeMar DeRozan has an interesting opinion about how he feels about the 2019 NBA Finals. He says the only person who we couldn't beat was LeBron. That's just what it was. I fell off the year before. We just needed one more piece to kind of push us over the top. That piece came to be LeBron going to the West when he went to the Lakers. And I didn't have an opportunity to see what would have happened. I have no doubt in my mind that the same outcome would have happened. So DeRozan feels that if you switch him with Kawhi, nothing changes. They win the NBA championship still. Either one of y'all want to go first? I'll go last, in my opinion.
I mean, he's just flat out wrong to me. The reason why they were able to beat the Sixers is because Kawhi was completely unguardable. It's like a different level than what DeMar DeRozan is able to do, and we've seen that. I mean, yeah, you could say the missing piece was LeBron going to the West, but at the end of the day, he wasn't going to guard Giannis against the Bucks because that's what Kawhi did when the chips were down. He wasn't. The reason they even beat the Bucks is because of Kawhi's pull-up jump shooting from three, not from the mid-range, from three. The Bucks let people walk into into transition threes, and Kawhi was able to nail those shots. Now, if DeRozan is saying he's going to do all that, sure, but they were losing that numbers game against the Bucks. They weren't going to beat the Bucks because Giannis had already taken that ascension. So to me, it's like yeah, he has the utmost confidence. Good for him, but no, it was not the same, and he's not going to be the same player Kawhi was. I'm sorry.
I think they still would have won. That team was crazy. Like they had Kyle Lowry, Fred. I mean, you don't get Danny Green without the Kawhi trade, so no him, but you still have Serge Ibaka, still had Marc Gasol, still had Pascal Siakam when he came into being a really good player that he is now. His last 3 years there, he averaged 23, 25, 23. Kawhi was there, he averaged 27. I mean, yeah, that's funny part about it is the 3 points more he averages than him is literally him shooting from three. And so like I get all that on that end of it. I see what he's saying. Like it definitely was possible. Replace him with Kawhi on the team is definitely still possible for them to still win.
I'm actually kind of surprised that y'all are like on two different sides.
Yeah, they had OG too.
Yeah, they had OG, Pascal.
He was a rookie though.
Yeah. But I mean, you gotta think you don't get Danny Green, you don't get Kawhi. So I mean, OG's playing, and he not starter minutes. He's playing off the bench. I mean, we seen what he can do. He play defense. He shoots well.
But he's a rookie coming off 2 ACL injuries. Like I
feel that, but Danny Green didn't do that much.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Danny Green, yes, he did. When
the Raptors won,
yes,
Kyle Lowry hit more threes than Danny Green.
It's not about who hit more threes. Who's guarding the perimeter the same way he is. Not Kyle Lowry, not DeRozan.
That wasn't that Danny Green.
Yes, it was.
That was not.
He went to the finals next year.
Kawhi and Pascal Siakam guarded everybody on that team. I mean, no, Kawhi and I said it right. Yeah, Kawhi and Pascal guarded everybody. So
no, they didn't.
Danny Green doing? All right.
Danny Green at this time
as a Bucks fan. I very specifically remember Kawhi and Pascal causing Giannis all the trouble.
I very specifically
remember Kawhi and Pascal causing Joel Embiid and them all the trouble. I very specifically.
So DeRozan's gonna come in and do the Kawhi. It's okay, but you're missing a huge point here. Is that it's Kawhi Leonard, not DeMar DeRozan, and we're talking two-way. That Kawhi 2019 run was
he averaged one more steal than DeMar DeRozan.
It's not about the numbers average. Kawhi was their offense for the last two rounds. Nobody on the Raptors was hitting shots going into the third round. He had to save their skin. No, he wasn't. Go look at the percentages.
I was watching the games. I don't have to look at
he shot under 40%, like 36% for the whole playoffs. He was not hitting shots. He didn't even really play against the Warriors like that. He was playing like 16 minutes a game. No, not like what you're missing with it is they like Kawhi. He guarded Giannis. Pascal is not guarding Giannis. DeRozan's not guarding Giannis. DeRozan does not have the same takeover ability as Kawhi. This is like Kawhi at his peak. That's the best playoff run that one individual has had since probably the best one since the Jokic one. Like the Jokic was the only one that was potentially even better. That Kawhi run was insane, dude. Like you're boiling it down to 3 points. You're missing the entire.
I'm not boiling down to nothing. That's my opinion. I'm not trying to change your opinion. That's my opinion. My opinion is that he still would have been able to do it with that team. Marc Gasol was still a good defensive player. You put Pascal on Giannis. Nobody's stopping. Like, it's one of them situations. Like, he's still finna get 25 points a game. He's still gonna get 30 points a game. But if you put Pascal, Marc Gasol's help, OG's play, I mean, that's my opinion of it, is that it still works out. I'm sorry. I understand what you're saying with all the numbers, and that's fine. But what I remember seeing was like, damn, these two short-ass point guards lighting these motherfuckers up. Some Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet is hitting everything. That's what I remember seeing.
Bro, you're remembering so wrong, and it's fucking
that's
funny.
Fine.
You're
remembering
fine. Yeah, literally go watch that Game 7 against
numbers
Sixers
probably
and tell me that
difference.
anybody on that Raptors team was doing anything.
And the numbers can tell a different story, and you can feel differently. But that's just not how I
I'm
feel.
not. It's not that
That's
I
not
feel
what I
different.
saw.
I watch this
You
all the
literally
time.
are.
Like, no, I watch this shit all the time. Kawhi Leonard, he shot like 40 shots.
But we
in
don't
that
have
game
the
7.
same eyes. We don't have the same eyes or brains. So what you see and how it looks to you is not going to look the
It's
same.
not
to
what
me.
I'm saying. It's the reality of it. I'm not saying anything other than the literate facts. This isn't my opinion here. This is what literally happened. Like you're
Right,
this
yeah.
is like this isn't
It
far
is,
enough
yeah.
away from y'all to go in and say like
Right, but
Pascal wasn't.
you do understand you're arguing what actually happened versus what I think would have happened with another player in that spot. So you do understand, like
But you're
there's
also
no way
a
we
little
would
bit
ever figure out
discrediting
whether
it.
or not we will never figure out whether or not I'm right. That's just what I think would have happened.
You're like kind of
No,
discrediting.
I'm not discrediting
what was
nothing.
what had
I'm
happened,
not gonna
and just
argue
saying,
you
no, this is
because
what happened,
what
and
you're
then that
saying
would
is
have
right.
happened.
No, I'm not gonna argue because what you're saying is right. That's what happened. Kawhi had an amazing fucking year. That's what happened, right? That's what happened,
Yeah,
right? So why
yeah.
the fuck would I argue with you about that? If that's what happened.
Hey, it ain't nothing to argue with me about it. It's the case, bro. The Kawhi saved their skin, dog.
you-
And
word.
DeRozan is not that same player.
Yeah, he did, and that's your opinion of DeRozan. We don't have this. You already know me.
It's
We don't
okay,
have
but
the same
it's
opinion
not
of
it's
DeMar
not
DeRozan.
it's not just
You
the
and I
DeRozan
both,
versus
we
Kawhi
already
thing.
know that.
It's not the DeRozan versus Kawhi thing.
Hold
It's
on,
also
hold on.
Okay,
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
question. You don't think DeMar DeRozan could have done it, right?
no, but that's not. It's not
Right.
just that.
And that's cool. I do, and
Hold on.
But it's
The
not
argument.
just think that he could-
No, hold on.
agree with him. I think he could have done it.
Let me reel it back in real quick. Hold on. One, this is exactly what it's about. Is do you feel like DeMar DeRozan could have done it? Yes or no? That's the argument. You says no. He says yes. That's literally it.
It's just
That's
that
it.
if you just swap out this, if it's the same Raptors team with DeMar, sure, but you're taking away Danny Green. You're assuming
Yeah, 'cause
that
he was a
that
part of the
Pascal
trade.
was Pascal, when Pascal wasn't even all NBA until like 2 years later. And on that team, he was putting up like 10, 15 a game in the playoffs. He wasn't Pascal that was averaging over 20 something a game or even anything after that. So it was
but that's irrelevant what he did 2 years later. It's about what he did in that playoff run. So basically you are just
He would have done
taking
the same thing he did with Kawhi.
you take the production that DeMar had, you taking DeMar DeRozan as himself and swapping it with Kawhi. That's the argument.
Those are two entirely different players on two entirely different tiers that we're talking about here. And that's why that's why I feel like it's just flat out wrong because DeRozan has never been that player. We watched it. If that was the case, he would have been battling with LeBron instead of getting swept 4 straight seasons. Like what are we doing? Like we're talking to a guy that actually beat the man.
That's your opinion of him. We saw the guy that beat that man with a better team. Kawhi has always had a better team than DeMar DeRozan. Am I wrong?
They had.
Has Kawhi not always had a better team than DeMar DeRozan? Am I wrong?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're right.
So,
yeah, you're right,
with a better team.
Hey, that's just so black and white. That's so black and white, yo. And I just don't feel like this is a black and white. This is a black and white argument here. I just don't think so.
I'm not arguing anything. That's my whole point is that we think differently of DeMar DeRozan. He is on a different tier for me than he is for you.
If he's on that
I'm fine with that. I'm
with
completely fine, bro. And you can continue to feel away. There are a bunch of raw ass players that didn't do anything in people's opinion. In a lot of people's opinion, Jamal Crawford didn't do anything. If you ask some people, but he's a fucking hooper. He's an amazing basketball player. He would cook majority of the niggas he played with. But that's people's opinion of him is that, oh, you didn't do nothing. So that's not the whole story. When it comes to basketball, it's not the whole story is whether or not you able to win. It's a lot of luck and other shit that go into being champ. Everybody don't get to do it. There's a bunch of great players that don't get to be champions. It doesn't take away from your greatness.
Because I'm actually kind of in the middle, right? And it just works out that way. And I'm gonna tell you why. Going straight on DeRozan's comment, I think he was a little short-sighted. Do I think that the DeMar DeRozan Raptors could have beat the Philadelphia 76ers in that playoff round? No. No. I don't think that.
You need a superhuman performance from Kawhi to do that.
But do I think that DeMar DeRozan could have beat the Warriors team as they were? Yes, I do feel that way. You swap DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard, I think I think the outcome is exactly the same. Given if you're saying the outcome plays out exactly the same, KD gets hurt, he ends up tearing his Achilles, Klay Thompson get hurt, I 100% think that DeMar DeRozan brings home an NBA championship for sure. But I also feel that I just don't know if DeMar DeRozan beats those other teams to get there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're asking him to beat
And I'm fine
Giannis.
with that.
You're asking him to beat the Bucks and the Sixers. Both teams were better than the Raptors. Kawhi was the reason they beat both of those teams. That's my whole thing. It's like, that's not just, hey, we're swapping out DeMar and Kawhi. We're swapping out DeMar's offense and his defense for Kawhi's offense, who's as good as Kawhi.
They clearly weren't better. They lost. The argument of them being better just can't be true because they lost. In a race to a game 7 or winning 4 games, the better team wins. There's no way to slice that. The team that's better is going to win.
I mean, we just saw like a miracle shot falling out of bounds over 2 all-world defenders to win that series. That's my whole point. It's like
we're better.
It went down to 1 shot. So
you got to be good to put yourself in that position.
So
because
better.
we won, I'm better.
They had a better coach. That's one thing that the Raptors had better.
They had one of the most complete teams that year.
A big part of that is that Kawhi trade is because they got Danny Green. They were so well rounded because their starting 5 was so rock solid.
Yeah, and they signed Marc Gasol.
No, they traded for Marc Gasol. He was traded for Valanciunas.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Which you can assume that would still happen.
But okay, so who's the starting 2? Norman Powell, who is again not Norman Powell yet. That's not Norman Powell averaging 20 off the bench yet. This is second year of Norman Powell. Like, Kawhi elevated all those guys, and I'm not seeing DeRozan do the same thing. I watched this man in Chicago 2 years later. It's the same stuff. Like, it's like if people are consistently going out in a certain round and their offense isn't translating to the playoffs as much as it is in a regular season, I think that's just the reality of it. It doesn't translate. He's a regular season guy. Those Raptors teams were regular season teams.
When the Bulls were healthy, was he not in the MVP discussion?
Yeah.
Yes. Even then, that like.
I'm gonna leave that there. That's crazy. Nigga was on a good team for not even half a season and was okay.
He was on a great team for like 6 years of his career and ran into the Bucks.
When was Toronto great?
The years leading up until LeBron leaving. Didn't they get seeding over them multiple times? Didn't they have the number one? They were
seed? Great. That team was
they had
great.
The number one. So a team that wins the number 1 spot in the East is not great.
No,
not always.
Right.
Not always.
I guess they're not. I guess they're not. I guess
not
regular season seed don't matter, bro.
Greatness is defined by what you do in the playoffs, not the regular season.
Right. Okay.
Is that a lie? You could say you could try to say you could say sure and try to dismiss what I'm saying, but that like
I'm not dismissing what you're saying.
You are, because you're like, right, all right, sure, you are. The reality is you're not. Your record is fine because some teams just try harder. They do, which is why those Cleveland LeBron years, they were just like, I don't care what seed, as long as we get in, we good. I don't care. So
no, that was one of the 4 seasons.
No, was 2.
That was it. That was the one season. That was one season when they traded away the whole team, bro. Come on.
That was every year. Every year, LeBron's already like, and when he was in the East, he was just like, I don't care. As long as I get in, I don't care what seed I'm in, because I can beat anybody.
They were like a lower end seed. They were a lower end seed one of those 4 seasons when they traded away the whole team in 2018. So the years prior to that, look at it. They're right there with them. That's one game off. That's not a great team. Like, they're right there with Cleveland. They're right there with Cleveland every year.
I don't care about their records. What do you do in the playoffs? I don't care about those regular season records. I don't.
Bro, the Pacers had a better team than them. Like, one of them years.
Like, what did you do in the playoffs?
Whatever year the Pacers took them to the fucking 7-game series. I'm pretty sure one of them years where the Raptors had a better record. And
look, Atlanta Hawks, 1 seed. That was a great team? No. The fuck? What are we talking about here? The Bulls won 50 games in 2014, 2015. That's a good team? That's a great team?
Yes.
No.
They almost went up 3-1 on Cleveland. What do you mean?
Almost.
They were a game winner from going up 3-1.
Almost sound good in horseshoes and hand grenades. Almost.
Man,
bunch of almost. You have a loose definition on greatness. I don't. You saying that a team won 50 games
the only
and then do that in the playoffs?
Is the only team teams that are great the ones that win titles?
No, the teams that get there are great.
Okay.
Teams that have playoff success.
Yeah. I mean, shit.
Yeah, I mean, I get these Raptors teams that were winning 50, 60, 59. All those teams were just horrible teams, and they weren't good.
I didn't say they were horrible. You're using a superlative. You're changing my argument. I didn't say they were horrible.
Finals,
I said they were not great.
Semifinals.
2 different things.
Okay. So, yeah, DeMar sucks is nowhere near Kawhi. There's no argument there. I'm sorry, dude. One's a multiple-time defensive player of the year. The other one
has a better career. Yeah.
One is a better player, flat out.
I agree.
instance.
I agree that Kawhi's better. I agree with that.
Like
sure.
one of them's like talked about Pantheon. The other one's not even top 75.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with that, but what I'm saying is,
Hey, if you agree with that,
Bro,
hang
I'm
the
not
man
finna
up to
argue
No,
opinions with you, bro. It doesn't matter. Like what you, I don't know why you keep trying to like. It's not happening, bro.
That's not the end of the argument. It's just like
it
is.
No, it's not because
It's
if you go Toronto Raptors, DeMar DeRozan that year versus Golden State that year, the way that they played out, I don't think the outcome changes.
So do you think that DeMar could beat the Bucks or the Sixers? Any of those?
No,
two teams?
I already said that. No.
So but he could beat Golden State because though Golden State wasn't even the best team they played that playoffs, but
they lost their second and third option in the middle of the finals. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. So
He's
if he
saying
can't,
if that still happens,
I'm talking
they
about the
lose. That's what
hypothetical
he's
of
saying.
them. I'm saying hypothetically, since this is all a hypothetical now, you got to stay with me. Hypothetically speaking, they get to the NBA Finals. Forget everything that happened before. They got there. You're telling me that DeMar DeRozan on that team couldn't beat them?
No,
given the circumstances,
no, I don't think so.
With no prime KD and no Klay Thompson.
I don't think they would. No.
All right. Okay.
No, I don't even think they get there more than anything because I mean, if we're talking based on what the article's talking about the entire playoff performance. Now, if we're just talking about if they would beat the Warriors, that's a whole different thing. But my thing is they wouldn't even got there if it wasn't for Kawhi.
But what I'm saying is that you're not even, you got to stay with where I'm going. You talking about, you're still focused on them getting there. I'm saying we agree there. I'm talking about erase the fact that they didn't get, fuck that. Talk about NBA Finals. KD does not play. He plays one half of one game. Klay Thompson gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You telling me that DeMar DeRozan won't beat that team? On that same team, DeMar DeRozan can't get a championship with that team.
Yes, I'm saying that. And it's not about DeMar the player. I just don't think they were good enough without him.
All right. Yeah, that's the video, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. We're on the road to 200 subscribers. Share the video with y'all homies. Are we right? Who's right? Does DeMar DeRozan get an NBA championship if you swap him with those two teams? Just let us know. We out. Peace.